call to order the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council. Let the roll call show that all members of the council are present. And this week it's Councilmember Steve Bueller's turn to lead us in the opening ceremony of his choice.
Thank you, Mayor. There are just a couple of things that I wanted to read tonight. One is just a reminder to all of us. This is the oath of office that we each took when we were sworn in as mayor and city councilman. I think the mayor's is the same. It says, I do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Utah, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity. And I want to congratulate the members of the council for always keeping that in mind, and wanted to read that as a reminder. But I have another oath of office that I wanted to read, and this is the oath taken by our sworn police officers. It says, I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Utah, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of police officer in and for West Valley City, and that I will maintain peace, law, and order, and that I will use the power and authority so conferred upon me, not for my own glory, but for the betterment of society and the protection of my fellow human beings, and that through my public service, West Valley City may be a better place for all to live and dwell, and I will do this according to the best of my ability and in strict accordance with the laws, so help me God. And as a commentary to that, I want to publicly thank the vast majority of police officers who are mindful of and uphold that oath. And I want to, for my part, assure the public that our goal is to strive to make sure that all officers are mindful and uphold that oath.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate that. Item 4, special recognitions. We always like to recognize scouts in our midst who are working on different merit badges or different things. Mr. Cox, would you mind coming up to the microphone and introducing yourself and telling us what brings you to council meeting tonight?
I'm Christopher Cox. I'm working on the Citizenship and the Community Merit Badge, and for one of the requirements, you have to come to a City Council meeting and listen and take notes on the different topics that are discussed in that.
Well, you're a fortunate man. You've picked a relatively short agenda tonight, so I think it'll be a good one for you. So, welcome.
Thank you.
Item 5 is our comment period. Do we have any members of the public who have come to address us on any topic? I didn't see any on the sign-in sheet today. Again, outside the regular public hearing. City manager comments? Anything today, sir?
No, sir, thanks.
Okay, city council comments. Council members, anything from anyone? Okay, I do have one thing that I maybe should mention in our work session and did not. And that's just as the United States Senate is considering different immigration proposals right now, and there seems to be some momentum a little bit towards doing something back there finally regarding immigration. I've reached out to Senator Hatch and Senator Lee, encouraging them to do things that would help those who are in our city to have a path towards citizenship at some point within the laws of the land, and also to have the businesses in our city able to use the federal visa program in a way to help them provide them with the employers. And obviously there's a lot of good debate back there on that, but I just wanted to mention in a public meeting that I've been reaching out to Senator Hatch and Lee, encouraging them to do something, because the current immigration system is broken and has a great impact on our neighborhoods and our businesses in our city. Item 6 tonight is public hearing, and we have the one public hearing tonight, which is application ZT-3-2013, which is in conjunction with Ordinance 1323. Mr. Pyle, if you could introduce this one, please.
Thank you, sir. Yes, as you mentioned, we have an ordinance that's amending or proposing to amend the shared parking ordinance. We have a applicant that's specific to the reason as to why the proposal was brought. And this is Mr. Nguyen, who would like to open a reception center at 2644 West and 2365 South. The proposed shared parking ordinance change, as you have before you in the issue paper, and as we've talked about in a previous meeting, there are restrictions as to how parking is shared in commercial developments. And this amendment would change that in the following way. I'll just illustrate it here really quickly. Currently, one of the requirements for sharing parking space between neighboring property owners is that access between the properties can be gained without utilizing a public or a private street. And this proposed ordinance and amendment would change that in the following way, and I'll just read it verbatim. It says, pedestrian access between the properties can be gained without utilizing a public or private street that is listed on the West Valley City Major Street Plan, and all of the parking must be located within a 400-foot radius of the main entrance of the use requesting the additional parking. So the way this would modify that then is to allow vehicular parking or that would actually cross or be close but still utilize a public street.
Okay, thank you. And the Planning Commission did recommend approval of this
Yes.
ordinance, correct? Okay, I will now open the public hearing regarding ordinance 1323. Is anyone here to speak for or against this proposal? Come up to the microphone, please, and state your name and address for our minutes.
Hi, my name is Hui Nguyen. Address 2644 West and 2365 South.
And how do you spell that, just for our record as well?
My last name is Nguyen. First name is Huy.
Thank you.
And I would like request to have that approved because we're trying to open a reception center and we have a lot of parking space, half an acre on our lot to provide for parking. But with the requirements of a reception center, they still require a lot more. So we were able to make contracts with neighboring properties to rent out their parking spaces. But because we're at the area where there's a small public road that we have to cross to get to those parking spaces. And that is our only choice to get access to those parking space. And to have those parking spaces is the only choice that we have to open the reception center.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who's come today to speak for or against ordinance 1323? Council, any questions of the applicant while we're still in our public hearing mode? Okay, then we will close the public hearing, and council, I'll turn it over to you for your pleasure.
Motion to approve the ordinance 13-23.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of that motion? Okay, I'll just say that I appreciate it when our staff and planning commission is reasonable to look at things that make logical sense and aren't afraid to propose tweaks to our rules so that good businesses can go forward. And we need good wedding reception centers. Reception centers. I know of some people who have to drive to Lehigh tonight to go to a reception, and so it's good to have more close by. We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor of approving ordinance 1323, say aye.
Aye.
That appears to be unanimous. Congratulations. Okay, we have one resolution tonight. Mr. Pyle, if you want to.
Interrupt here. I noticed we had somebody come in to sign up on the public comment period, and I wonder if I guess I could make a motion to suspend our rules and allow, since it was just a minute late, to allow for those public comments and revisit 5A. So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of suspending the rules to reopen the public comment at 5A. So again, not in relation to this ordinance, but just kind of our general comment period, say aye.
Aye.
All right, that passes. So we'd like to welcome Fran Crookston. And if you can just come to the microphone and state your name and address for our record, please.
Okay, my name is Fran Crookston. I live at 1349 West, 4800 South in Taylorsville. But I'm a member of St. Stephen's Episcopal Church in West Valley City, and that's why I'm here. I'm also the board member of the Literacy Action Center, which is for adults who speak English but test either in reading, writing, or arithmetic at lower than a 5th grade level. And that's trying to get them more capable of education, and the reason why they're at that level is as varied as how many people, everybody that we, it's just that they finally are ready to do whatever they have to do to get a better education. And a few years ago, they were getting funded at $40,000 from some grant through the federal government, but that ceased. And so the finances for the Literacy Action Center are very extremely low. And I have been working on organizing a fundraiser at St. Stephen's to raise money for their programs. And I usually write things out so I can, but I haven't had the chance to sit down and write it out. But the fundraiser, we, as a board, we met a week ago on Monday. They spoke of how serving alcohol increased different events thousands of dollars. And the special events permit in West Valley City says that it's only for concerts. Nothing like a charity fundraiser, and yet we could really use thousands of dollars of increased revenues that serving alcohol would allow us. And so in the ordinance it says concerts only, and I wonder if that could be explained, why concerts only and not, say, charitable fundraisers. And also maybe hear what the process is, because I spoke with a guy who is in charge of permits, and he said that permits are only, the special events permits only come up every 6 to 9 months. And people at St. Stephen's are not very optimistic about getting a liquor license. And the Episcopal Church has documents on what is allowed in the serving of alcohol at events at their location. And I guess that's...
We appreciate the conundrum there. We appreciate your good efforts in helping to serve there, and our best to Reverend Seddon and the other good people there at St. Stephen's. Mr. City Manager, who would be a good person to follow up with her on looking at this closer, and if the exceptions do make sense, helping to shepherd that, or just even understanding it better?
Who did you speak with, ma'am?
It was over a month ago, so I can't... Was
it on the phone?
Yeah, over the phone.
Okay, what I would suggest is...
Wait a minute, I'm seeing someone in the audience pointing to themselves.
Oh.
It's the person you spoke to. What are the odds of that?
All right, well, very good. And what I would suggest you do is get with Ms. Knapp, this is Jody Knapp here, right after the meeting, and Mr. Pastrick, who sits behind me. And none of us, unfortunately, up here are experts on the liquor laws here in the state of Utah, or frankly, even amongst our own ordinance. It's a very arcane, as you can imagine, subject in terms of the permitting and the licensing and everything that has to go into that. These two, however, are actually very knowledgeable in that, so they'll be able to give you a feel for how to approach that, whether it's feasible to approach it. If you were if your organization, for example, were to make a proposal or request for a change to the ordinance that would allow for that kind of permitting, how you would approach that. And luckily they are here tonight, and so they ought to be able to help you.
Okay, thank
Right.
you.
Well, thank you for coming. We do appreciate your congregation and the group you work with there. We will jump back into item 7 then, Resolution 1374.
Thank you, sir. This resolution would approve the grant of a public utility easement on property the West Valley City owns at 4109 South Holder Drive. The purpose of this public utility easement would be to get power to a Utopia Hut location on that site. A cable and facilities easement was granted to Utopia on April 2nd of this year. The purpose of this one would therefore be to get the power to the structure.
Okay, so we have this one out. Council, any motions you'd like to make on this one?
Mayor, move for approval of Resolution 1374.
Second.
Okay, thank you both. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that seems to also pass unanimously. We will go to the next item, 8. Any need for executive session tonight? And we go to the final item, which is item 9, which is to adjourn.